Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket or you're just happy to see me?
So, hello everybody. Welcome to our basically monthly Cringe Factory, because we used to do this every Wednesday and it got to a point where I basically had to say like enough, because it was basically talking about cringe shits one day and then talking about more cringe shits on Saturday, because I do a Talk Nerdy stream with my friend Steph, my nerdy home. So it got a little too much. So I decided to just narrow it down to once a month and decided let's do it at the beginning of the month, get it out of the fucking way, done, and the rest of the month will be talking about positive stuff pretty much. And I'm going to announce this stream pretty much, the ones and twos for this coming month pretty much. And the ones and twos for any new people in the chat is basically the first and second movie, either in a franchise or the first and like the movie and its sequel. Because like, for example, last March, Orange Hat Reviews and I talked about Boondock Saints 1 and 2, and there are only two movies pretty much. So basically, talk about the ones and twos essentially. And I decided what the ones and twos this month will be. And the reason why I picked these movies in particular, because it has something to do with this little certain event that's happening this month. But before I say hello to the chat, Stig, let everybody know where they can find you if you so choose and want them to do so, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, on Twitter and on this channel. Sometimes on Tommy's channel, Guinea Pig Collective, I think it's called. And Teresa's channel, we're returning this Saturday for the first stream of Magician Apprentice, which is the first half of the first book of the Rift War saga, which is about to be ruined by Kiri Hart and other cronies. Arguably one of the best fantasy books ever written, actually.
Well, I mean, I'm like trusting your judgment. I have not read.
You haven't?
Well, I have the Magician. I'm saying I have not had a chance, because I've been like basically going through books that I like a pile like to read. Yes. I'm going to get to it. So
you're not quick enough.
I'm busy. I'm busy. One of the things I've been busy with is like passing my praxis, so I can officially apply to become a teacher. So yes.
You'll be a shit teacher if you haven't read Magician. It is known.
So I want like you as witnesses, chat. You as witnesses, chat. All right. Witnesses. Dead man walking there.
If she reads that book, she's going to be a great teacher.
But anyway, so I'm going to say hello to the chat. I'm going to go real fast into the ones and twos for this coming month basically give you guys time to watch the movies if you want to participate in the chat. And then we'll go into the topics. And like I said, I had to telling Sig I had to narrow down topics because there was, when I say there was more than enough cringe, that's not an understatement. There was more than enough cringe to talk about. So I had to like narrow it down to some topics for tonight and then save some for Saturday. So yeah.
Yeah, and also The Mandalorian is going down the drain fast with shit writing. And it's like, if only people had listened to us 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, it's generally had shit writing. It was just shit.
We just saw it earlier.
Yeah, but anyway, so from the top, I see Trey. What's up? He says, I'm ready for the cringe. Well, hopefully you're ready for this cringe, Trey. And two of the articles you fucking shared with me, so thank you for that. But good to see you. Gravy D says, Oi, Mara. And Mara and Stig, I'm the opposite of Trey on this, and I'm not ready for the cringe. Yeah, because he typed my name twice.
Trey is, according to Wizards of the Coast, Trey is an orc.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty fucking much. Sentinel, good to see you. Yes, Atomic Ranger, this grew again. Orange Hat, such a beautiful day. Let it be said, I will slay any troll that sets foot in Mara's domain. Thank you so much, Orange Hats. Yes, he's my co-host for the ones and twos. Jaluk, What's up? Good to see you. Keely, good to see you. Condor DM, Wizards of the Coast is enough crap to feed the anger endlessly. You'd swear they did this as a strategy, but it has backfired. Well, we're going to be talking about the most recent slate of crap, pretty much, that they're doing. So we'll be talking about that. Jimmy the Cast, good to see you. Dan Blackroyd, first off, screw you. Secondly, good to see you. How you been?
Oh, he has a map too. I hear
Yeah.
maps are difficult to get a hold of.
There is something to the effect of beating a joke into the ground, pretty much, where it becomes.
Well, he did it.
Cringe.
I didn't mention it.
I wonder if Lizzo, Jack Black, and Christopher Lloyd being on The Mandalorian is cringe enough to make it tonight. Well, I don't talk about Star Wars. I checked out of Star Wars a long time ago. Maybe I'll talk about it this Saturday with Steph. But I did watch that clip that Rhino shared, and I felt like horrible for Christopher Lloyd. But at the same time, I was like, to the people who ran the hashtag I stand with Gina Carano, but still watch The Mandalorian, basically run by Disney, the same shitheads that fired Gina Carano for stupid reasons, now crying about what's going on in The Mandalorian. I'm like, you get what you fucking deserve.
Yeah.
I'm at that point. You get what you fucking deserve.
Basically, it was like, yeah, we love Gina Carano. She might give us a trophy, like.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
That's what
Teresa.
happened.
Yes. For now, it's like I guess StreamYard's like Stieg now because his icon is showing up on the YouTube side, so he's not a white nipple.
It's the first picture.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't show.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't know why. It just doesn't like it.
Probably because it's a penis.
Fucking hell.
No, I'm kidding.
Hello, Sultan. Good to see you. Yes, Magician. This is Ms. Martin's channel. Good to yep. And I know there was a member message. Member for 15 months from Sunny and Brave Megatron talking about the 1s and 2s. So we're talking about Nadia on Pokemon today. No, Trey. Or no, as he trades above the comment. No, Sunny and Brave Megatron. No. And I think Trey shared my. Where is it? Let's see, Teresa's channel. This is my Rumble. This will be mirrored over there. My second channel, where I'll try to do a live stream this Friday. I'm not sure, because I'm going to try to stream on Kick to work my way to affiliate there as a backup to Twitch. Hello, Sean Berg. Good to see you. The Vader fanfic. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Oracle made prediction. Yes. Greg Irons. Good to see you. Sorry, chat's jumping on me a little bit. Yeah, hopefully he'll be Nobody 2 to make up for it. Yeah, he was in Nobody. And I actually thought the movie was decent. Like, better than I thought it would be. So, I'm kind of looking forward to a sequel if they do it. Abomination, good to see you. Greg says no, he's no longer a D+ sub. Yeah, pretty much.
Megan was a good movie.
Hello? Thank you so much, Winky. What?
Megan, that was a good movie.
Yeah, sorry, Trey. So I know, but I'm like, no, we're not talking. And this is my Kick right here. This is where I'll be streaming, hopefully on Friday. I think Untamed Mando is going to help me a little bit. Because I'm trying to figure out how to import my scenes. Like my starting scene, my returning, and my ending scene. Like that stuff. So that way, like, I'm able to, have that as part of the stream to get things going.
Just don't
Vanya,
click
good to see you.
pop-ups.
Yeah, I'm good. I swear, Trey. I swear, Trey. Like, you give me the stuff that I read, and I'm like already raging, and then Stieg somehow screws up my chat on Twitch. So it's like one of those things where it's like, oh wait, like I'm just like I already have a headache, and I'm just seeing what's going on the Twitch side. But anyway, so before we go into the topics, hey gaming, I see you. Yep, there you are. All right. So before we go into the topics, like I said, for the new people who are just well, all right, fine. Anyway, all right. So before we go into the topics, like for the new people who like, just showing up in the chat, new to my channel. The 1s and 2s are movie streams where we talk about the first and second movie if it's in a franchise, or the first movie and its sequel. Like I say, for example, we did the Boondock Saints movies last month. This one I picked, even though it's not October, Fright Night. The original Fright Night. All right, so not the fucking remake, but the original Fright Night and its sequel. All right, so I'm talking about the 1985 Fright Night. All right, okay, with Chris Sarandon, William Ragsdale, Roddy McDowall. That Fright Night. Okay, Fright Night 1 and 2. Yep, and the reason why I picked it is because it was pretty much one of the instrumental movies in my developing a love for the horror genre, and I actually watched those movies when I was in primary school. All right, it's like when parents let their children watch shits because they understood that, hey, like, they're gonna find a way to watch it no matter what, so let's just show it to them. Pretty much. Used to watch Fright Night a lot, as well as Gremlins. That was another choice. I was like going back and forth between the two, but ultimately I landed on Fright Night. So. So the 1985 one, all right? So no, you can watch the remake if you want. I'm not talking about that shit. All right? I'm not talking about that shit. Thank you, Winky. So, I mean, hopefully if you, like, watch them, the sequel is, let's put it this way, sequel is decent. It's a sequel. I'm not, like, it's not horrible or anything like that. It's not horrible or anything like that. But I think, like, of the two, the first one is definitely the better one. All right? It's definitely the better one. But yeah, so I think you might enjoy at least the first one. I think you might enjoy at least the first one.
The first one was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, like, I loved Chris Sarandon. Like, Chris Sarandon was also one, like, his performance as Jerry Dandridge is also what kind of, like, got me interested in vampires. So I like read a lot about the lore and, like, basically the like the history and so forth. It's actually really fascinating. Grew up when it was okay for kids to watch everything. Yeah, pretty much. So, my more power to you if you like the remake. I was not a fan of it. There were two positives I could say about the remake. One, David Tennant's portrayal as Peter Vincent. I enjoyed, like, he was, like, one of the good parts in that movie, and the believability aspect to Jerry Dandridge's character, having the location be like Las Vegas, where it would make sense for him to be up at night and sleep during the day because of how Vegas works. So I'd say it's right up. Lost Boys is right up there with Fright Night for me. I wouldn't say it's greater, but so. 1985, and I can't remember when the sequel was. Whenever the sequel was, like, right at, like, after, the one I'm talking about is 1985. The first Fright Night, 1985, with Chris Sarandon, Roddy McDowall, William Ragsdale, and so forth. What was I going to say? Amanda Bierce, who I believe is a lesbian. And if she were, like, working today, she can only get those types of roles, but she played Marcy on Married with Children, and she was Charlie's girlfriend in the original Fright Night. Hey, Sentinel. Okay, yeah. Okay, 2, 3, yeah, so, like, yeah, 1988. I knew it was, like, late 80s, but couldn't remember the exact year. But those are the ones, 1985 and 1988. So, all right, so the topics for this evening. Like I said, 2 of the articles were shared by Trey. Thank you, Trey. But this is from March 31st. But it goes along with the accounts that were coming out about, like, certain authors' works being written for modern audiences. All right. Most recent one being Ian Fleming's James Bond. Well, Agatha Christie is apparently joining the growing list of classic authors whose original works are being rewritten for modern audiences. Pretty much. A woman, an author, doesn't matter if she's a woman, but an author, a mystery author, I read a lot when I was growing up. All right. I loved her characters. I loved the settings, things like that. It didn't fucking matter to me that it's set in like the basically 1920s, 30s. So she wrote the time period that she was used to. She wrote the time period that she was like living in. So it made sense for it to take place then. All right, it makes sense for it to be historically reflective of the time period she was writing in. But now they now have to modernize this shit pretty much. All right, and then another article on bounding into comics is what Wizards of the Coast is doing, and that is, I'm going to read the headline. I got to scroll up a little bit. To remove half species from player's handbook, claiming the entire idea is inherently racist. Right? So, yeah, inherently racist to create a character that's a half species of like two races, pretty much. So
Yeah,
half elf, half orc.
which has been a thing since probably the first edition when they had half elves.
The actress who played, what was the character's name? Marcy on Married with Children. She plays Charlie's girlfriend in the original Fright Nights, and I believe she's a lesbian. But like, if you were working today, she can only get roles like because of her sexual orientation. Like that is in line with that. That's what Brendan. Well, pretty much. Hey, Hound, good to see you. Yeah, very successful. Yeah, pretty much. Mentally ill. So yeah. But anyway, so we'll have the Agatha Christie being number 1, DnD being number 2, and TheGamer is the third article, and that is the abuse of Ada Wong's actor is the latest episode of Gamers Being Awful. And what's the abuse that the actress is getting? All right, for the Resident Evil 4 remake, just the voice acting, and myself included. I do not like the voice acting in the game. She's so emotionless.
So basically, the gamers are being accused of Wong Think.
Oh my god. Anyway, that's the third one. So 1 is Agatha Christie, 2, all right, is DnD, and 3 is TheGamer on the Resident Evil 4 remake.
Okay, I'll roll the dice then.
All right.
1.
All right, so Agatha Christie it is. Or at least she's joining the growing list. And I saw Trey's comment like, yeah, I remember my Death on the Nile rant. Close that. All right, so Agatha Christie, famous mystery author, one of the most famous mystery authors out there, on par, I would say, for most mystery readers with Arthur Conan Doyle and the like, pretty much. But her books are apparently joining the growing list of classic authors whose original works are being rewritten for modern audiences. Might as well just remove the word classic from the English dictionary because it means nothing to these people. It actually means nothing to these people.
Excellent point, because if they edit it and change the language and all that, it's not the classic anymore, is it?
No.
It's kind of like calling the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street a classic.
Yeah.
Because it was based on a classic.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
then you're just a stone throw away from calling everything a classic.
Yeah, pretty much. And I was not happy with both. Like, I saw like them butchering Murder on the Orient Express. I saw what they were doing. I went to go see Death on the Nile in the theater. Not that I expected anything necessarily different. I wanted to see how they handled the adaptation, and they butchered it. Butchered both her stories. But anyway, so I haven't read this article, so I have no idea what exactly is happening. So you're going to get my genuine reaction to this shit. Like, first genuine reaction from this, pretty much. In further proof that even the most storied creators aren't safe from the pearl clutching of identity politics, the publishing house currently responsible for handling legendary mystery novel author Agatha Christie's expansive library of works, HarperCollins, has commenced updating her works for, quote, modern audiences. These changes were first brought to light by The Telegraph, who were reportedly able to obtain digital versions of HarperCollins' upcoming re-releases of Christie's entire catalog of Miss Marple stories, as well as a choice few Hercule Poirot ones. Okay, he's Belgian. Ahead of their official street dates. I know Miss Marple stories, I've read them, and I love the Hercule Poirot ones. Absolutely fucking love them. So I'm like, so at this point, if I ever have to get another copy, I'm going through like thrift books and things like that. I am not giving these people a fucking dime ever again. If they continue this, led by the publisher's own sensitivity readers, I hate this. Like, this is like, you can't get a job, you can't get a legitimate job anywhere fucking else, so you hire yourself out as a sensitivity reader. That's like borderline vagrancy. Pretty much. It won't stop. Yeah, pretty much. The Oriental Express. Oh, well, let's see. Let's see. You were bullied in high school. I'm on the spectrum. My escape was spending lunchtimes in the library reading Agatha Christie books. They have a special place in my heart. Well, that's like I said, you know, it's I didn't go through that, but like I grew up reading Agatha Christie books as well. Whenever like reading mysteries, like she was my go-to for mystery writers. I'd say Megatron, identify as something other than what you are, and will pay better. Pretty much. Hey, Snyder Steppenwolf. HarperCollins editing is said to have begun in 2020 with the intention to remove any mention, whether it be a description, an insult, a simple reference, or the use of an outdated term such as Oriental or Nubian. Well, hasn't Marvel used this recently with one of the
Wonder Woman as well? They have a character named Nubia.
I'm saying, like, you know, like I'm saying not Marvel, DC with Wonder Woman, like use Nubian. So isn't that outdated? She's the Queen of Mysteries, yeah, pretty much.
Well, technically, Amazon would be outdated as well.
Mm-hmm. It's a job where you might as well say that you can't get any legitimate job elsewhere. Pretty much, that's what that kind of job is. All right, but they're saying it's outdated, but yet DC. All right. Is using that. Nubia. For example, in Christie's classic Death on the Nile, there exists an instance where Mrs. Allerton, one of the passengers on the story's central boat trip, expresses annoyance at a group of children by asserting they come back and stare, and their eyes are simply disgusting. And so are their noses, and I don't believe I really like children. Well, who the fuck cares? I judge babies all the time. However, in HarperCollins' updated edition, she now simply says, they come back and stare, and I don't believe I really like children. What was wrong with this? What's wrong with like saying they're... I guess I judge babies all the time.
It's a character's point of view.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is that you can't have characters now, good or bad, that aren't politically correct in their thought pattern.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Which means you'll no longer have villains.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Troubled Cat, what's your thoughts on the Mario movie reviews despite the trailers giving us enough girl boss energy to make Star Wars blush? I haven't read any of the Mario movie reviews. I don't even know if I'm going to see the movie necessarily, because the impression I'm getting is, at least the impression I'm getting from, like, say, hardcore Super, like, Nintendo fans, they're not liking this movie. It's getting, like, middling reviews. Might cover what Anya Taylor-Joy was saying about updating Princess Peach or whatever the fuck she said about that character. Like, she didn't want to voice the character unless they kind of changed the character a little bit. Yeah, so I've seen that. I've seen at least some clips. So we'll see. But yeah, it is close. It's close. Okay. In another change, a black servant whose brief role in the original story was to smile in confirmation of being told to keep a secret is now read as simply being a servant. How's that any better? And you react to his orders by simply nodding. Okay, so nodding is better than a smile? Oh my god. It's looking more like it's just Nintendo fan service and doesn't appeal to normies. I don't know.
Normies kill franchises.
No, I'm saying I don't know what Anya Taylor-Joy's comments were. Pretty much, like she says like something about not wanting to voice the character unless they change some things about her.
Fire them.
From now on, only white men can be bad characters. They have to be Nazis, but not racist. Just Nazis by name only makes them bad. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, I'm like saying like I don't know. He's still a servant. He's still a servant. It's just we now can picture, based like it's like it's a black servant, and because guess what people in the Middle East, slavery is still done. There's still forms of slavery in the Middle East.
Yeah, and if they want to retroactively remove evidence of slavery, then there can be no reparations.
Yeah, but it's still going on, and it was still going on now, and it was going on then. HarperCollins' updated release of Christie's 1964 entry in her long-running Miss Marple detective stories, A Caribbean Mystery, likewise takes such steps to avoid causing even the slightest offense to anyone. These measures include changing the description of a West Indian hotel worker from having such lovely white teeth to instead read beautiful teeth. I'm like not saying anything wrong in the original. Was the word white? Did you not like that? I mean, teeth are supposed to be white. And wholesale cutting of both the description of a woman who had a torso of black marble, such as a sculptor would have enjoyed, and a passage where the character of Gregory Dyson is startled by how a black woman in a white dress had looked like a faceless apparition, but that was because though the dress was white, the face was black. Oh my god. Like, what is the word? White? Is that like they didn't like that? Hey, subhuman. We don't talk about that slavery, our only American one. Yeah, pretty much. Arabs have black slaves. They still do. They still do. They still practice it in one way or another in the Middle East. They still do.
Oh, and a lot of African countries as well.
Yeah. Can't say white is lovely. No, you can't. And a £2 from Winky. Thank you so much. I love Trey, but like man, love sex. Thank you so much, Winky. Make your teeth white. Yeah.
Well, if you're white and you're getting a tan, that's racist now too.
Yeah, I tan easily when I walk outside. I tan easily. And this picture right here, they race swapped these characters. They race swapped these characters, and that woman on the right, was in the original is a romance novelist, and they changed her to a jazz singer in the Kenneth Branagh version where they butchered the story. And her character, spoiler alert, I mean, there's nothing like majorly spoiler about this, but her character dies in the book because she's about to reveal to Poirot what she had seen. So she's killed, but they kept her alive in the recent Death on the Nile. All right, and kill off another character that wasn't even supposed to fucking be there.
So they should basically call it Death and Denial.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because it's just it's basically it's just woke garbage, that movie then.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've read the book, and I've seen other film versions of Death on the Nile, so I knew what to expect as far as like who the culprits were, how it was conducted. Spoiler alert: it's more than one. How it was conducted, things like that. So I knew going in what the story should have been, and then I could like easily pick apart the shit that they added that wasn't in the book, and so forth. And she's supposed to be an alcoholic. She's an alcoholic in the book too.
Yeah, and if it's a murder mystery book, then every detail matters.
All right.
So if you change stuff, it'll have ripple effects.
All right. Y'all want a spoiler of who committed the crime? Because it's more than one technically. All right, because I wouldn't recommend watching this movie. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to spoil away because there are other film versions. Find the Peter Ustinov one. That's a decent adaptation of Death on the Nile. All right, doesn't butcher anything. At least it's like a decent actual adaptation of the story. Right. So see if you can find one with Peter Ustinov. All right. I don't know why it's just got a fucking backstory, but Peter Ustinov. All right, decent version. Yeah, or read the book. But I'm saying if you're like not want to so yeah. So I'm not gonna spoil anything. All right, find that one. Okay, that's the version That's the version I know I watched recently that I would recommend. And the Murder in the Orient Express one, 1974. Right, that's with Albert Finney.
Yeah.
All right, that's actually Agatha Christie loved that adaptation.
It has a sick cast, that one.
Yeah, very good. An actual adaptation. Yeah, there are some changes made, but like they don't impact the story at fucking all, pretty much. Like the story itself is not butchered. All right, but anyway, moving on. But anyway, like I said, race swapping and character changes galore with those two. Christie's 1920 Hercule Poirot adventure The Mysterious Affair at Styles has also been affected with a comment from the mustachioed detective in which he notes that another individual is a Jew, of course, being removed from its re-release. He's commenting on ethnicity, religion, he's commenting on the person. Further, a description of a young woman as being of gypsy type has been updated to instead list her as simply a young woman. Oh my god. Gypsies are trash. All right? Just again, another rant. Gypsies are fucking trash, all right? Do you guys know in the chat, Sig, do you know the reason why they believe they have the right to steal?
That I don't know, but we have gypsies coming up from Romania every summer, and they basically do a lot of begging and stealing.
Yeah, they steal. Like in their minds, what's theirs is theirs, and what's yours is theirs as well, pretty much, right? The reason why, and this is their belief, all right, goes all the way fucking back to the crucifixion of Christ, all right? The first I don't want to call it first gypsy, pretty much, all right, but basically down the lineage lines, all right, all the way back to the crucifixion of Christ, they stole one of the nails, all right, and because God did not smite him right then and there, he took that as divine permission to steal and pass that along, pretty much. So all the way fucking back to the crucifixion of Christ, that's where their belief goes. Reason why they believe they have a divine right to steal because God did not smite them right then and there. I shit you not. So, like I said, what's theirs is theirs, and what's yours is theirs as well. That's their belief.
Yeah, that's not gonna work with me. But yeah,
it's something to do with gypping people because they're They steal. They're little con artists. Nothing to do
You
with their
know,
race or anything like that.
yes, con artists, because myself and many others have been outside early in the morning, and when the beggars show up,
Mm-hmm.
they show up in a Mercedes, and they're wearing expensive clothes,
Mm-hmm.
and then they put on rags, and then sit down at a corner, and then when they're
Yeah.
done, they go into the mall and buy expensive shit.
So, no, he didn't. I remember my Bible enough, and he didn't. Cain was sent off. He was like exiled, pretty much, but he didn't smite him. Yeah, and Snatch, yeah. Even Brad Pitt's character, they're Irish. They're called gypsies. Gyppos, pretty much, because that's what they do.
Yeah, pikeys.
They steal flowers from graves, smite them, yeah. But anyway, like, when they say of gypsy type, it's nothing to do with race or anything like that.
No, because you have gypsies in several races, really.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the author's 1979 anthology, Miss Marple's Final Cases and Two Other Stories, a reference to a character's Indian temper has been edited to instead make note of his temper, while all uses of the word natives have been either dropped or replaced with the term local. Natives is not inherently racist because it just means they are of the actual native to the fucking country. You could be local, you could be a local, but not be a native to the country.
Yeah, and why would they call them locals if they're in Africa? Indians wouldn't be locals there, would they?
No, they wouldn't be. They wouldn't. I'm saying, like, there's a difference. There's a difference between the two words. Like, this is giving me such a fucking migraine right now. And finally, it appears that all uses of the N-word have been removed from her works, including "And Then There Were None," which was originally named after the children's nursery rhyme 10 Little Youth, and heavily references its subject matter. I'm saying, yeah, you don't have to like it, but it's the time period. So sorry. And there's also a nursery rhyme called 10 Little Indians.
Yeah, Teresa
Right?
says there was a word in Ireland for them, and it's quite bad.
I believe that.
I think the word she means is it's cunts.
I don't know what's wrong with native. I'm saying there's nothing wrong with it. It just means they are like actually native to the country. They were born in the country. Whereas you could be a local in a country, but you could have immigrated to that country. You're not necessarily a native.
If you're a local, you're local in a certain area of that
I'm saying
country
like,
that
there's
you're
a
a
difference
native
in those
of.
words. Yeah, and there's a difference
Yeah.
in those words.
Guess what? I'm a native to Norway, and I'm not offended if someone says that.
Yeah. Sadly, Christie is not the first widely renowned author. Yeah, so basically, I covered what was happening. These two, all right, she's not the first one. But there it is.
They
So fucking stupid.
They really have it in for Ian Fleming and James Bond, because they hired that Phoebe Waller-Bridge bitch, to make the last James Bond movie Me Too friendly, and they also killed him off, I believe. So James Bond has always been one of the most hated characters for third wave feminists.
Charlie, control language and control the people speaking it. Exactly. All right, so and how they're starting to do that by rewriting classic works.
Yeah, and altering your a country's idols and statues and history. This is how every communist takeover of a country happens.
And here's the irony, right? Now, when I say this, I have nothing against George Orwell. He's one of my favorite authors. All right, just taught a unit when I was student teaching on Animal Farm. All right, he was a socialist. But he was not a sheep. All right, he could think for himself, and he saw the writing on the wall. when it came to certain certain entities, certain countries, like communism, things like that. He saw the writing on the wall. He said, if this is happening here, this is like what we can expect. All right, this is what's going to happen. Like, he was so fucking prescient. He was a socialist. But like I said, he was not a sheep. He thought for himself. But anyway, there it is, folks. So if you read Agatha Christie, if you read Agatha Christie or any other authors whose books are getting changed, find ways to purchase copies through like thrift stores, thrift sites, things like that.
Yeah, and you know what? Going to thrift stores and to look for books or comics or DVDs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. It's a fun hobby.
I generally like our local ones, like half price books, or like relatively locals, half price books. That's generally where I go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great hobby.
So I'm gonna stop screen sharing this because like I said, that was giving me a fucking migraine. Like literally right here. Where is it? Look. Let's be reading this. Another good one.
Hmm.
All right. Give you a chance to either listen to the audiobook, read it, or find a movie version that's not butchered. Another one I recommend.
I think
Evil Under the Sun.
I think the next one once they're gonna attack will be C.S. Lewis, because he's a Christian. They hate Christians, and Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard.
Yeah. C.S. Lewis, well, I mean, all three I can see them like going after, but it's like, C.S. like you said, C.S. Lewis especially, and he was actually he converted because of Tolkien. See a lot of Christian imagery in the Chronicles of Narnia books.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, read, like, if you can, Evil Under the Sun. Highly, highly recommend. But anyway, all right, so the next topics, let me just kind of go back. The next two topics are what Wizards of the Coast is doing with Dungeons and Dragons in particular by removing half species from players' handbooks because it's inherently racist. Then you have TheGamer claiming the Ada Wong actors, the voice actors, was abused with no proof, pretty much.
Yeah, I rolled. We're gonna do Wong.
All right, so we'll save Dungeons and Dragons for last. So, presents screen. Here it is, folks. The abuse of Ada Wong's actor is the latest episode of Gamers Being Awful. Lily Gao has had to delete her social media after Resident Evil 4 fans bombarded her, and this is far from the only time it has happened. I scrolled through this article. No screenshots whatsoever. No receipts. And the only thing I've ever seen anyone complain about with this woman is her voice acting job in the Resident Evil 4 remake because she is so emotionless. You could it's like you can tell she's reading from a script. Hey guy, when you hire sensitivity readers, you can be assured they'll find something to edit to justify their paycheck and create a crisis to justify their another paycheck. Yeah, I'm saying these are people. You hire someone as a sensitivity reader, all right? These are people who can't get any legitimate job elsewhere, and they have to do this shit, all right, to make themselves useful. All right. But there it is. Let's just go through this shit. This past weekend saw Ada Wong actor Lily Gao delete most of her social media due to hate being sent her way by Resident Evil 4 fans. I don't think we should brush this off by saying so-called fans. They are fans. Real fans. The type of toxic, parasocial, deeply defensive fans that gaming as a whole is keen to cultivate and cater to. So yes, us evil gamers. Again, no proof.
People who want good voice acting or
yeah,
we're
we're horrible. Yeah, we're horrible for having the gall to criticize the job, like, you know, the voice acting job, pretty much. When we're playing a game and we want to be invested in the story and with these characters, and we can't get invested in the story of the characters because of someone's poor performance. That's it. Nothing against her personally. So when they all blow up in someone's face, usually a female actor or developer, oh yeah, because you have to add sexism in there as well. It's insulting to dismiss these people as not being true fans, as if this is a one-off case nobody could have ever predicted. This is the chickens coming home to roost in the bed we made. Fucking hell, it's a Stacey article. A note on Ada and Gal first. Ada has long been my favorite Resident Evil character, as I wrote about before the remake was released. I've had my eye on her the most as I've made my way through Leon's wacky Euro trip again. I hate this bitch so much in her writing. And have not been disappointed.
Half of it is just her talking about herself.
Yeah, pretty much. Gal does a fantastic job giving Ada a sense of cool distance, something of a counterweight to the often campy and melodramatic nature of the rest of the game. No, she's boring. She is boring. Like, there is like no chemistry between her. There's no believable chemistry between her character and Leon because they're supposed to be flirting. There's chemistry between them. All right? There's nothing. There is nothing. I heard a comparison of the original and the remake. The original had more feeling and emotion. That's what I'm saying. Like, everything that I've seen, everything I've said, everything I know, people I know who have said is like no emotion, no feeling. Like I said, that's part of how we get invested with characters is because we connect with them through their voice acting. All right, and there's nothing with this character. Like she might as well have just been standing there in front of us reading off the script.
So basically, she's voicing, not acting.
Yeah. There's like the voice, she had the voice part, but not the acting part. Yeah, flirting, pretending to try to kill each other. Yeah, pretty much. Like, there's chemistry. There's supposed to be chemistry between these two characters. Okay, but now, she was always the best thing in it, but now Gal gives her a more active footing as the game's coolest and most interesting character. I've barely seen her so far. The only disappointment I had at all was that Separate Ways, the post-game reward content where you play as Ada, was absent. Every version post its original release has included Separate Ways, bar the VR version, so I think it was a pretty reasonable hope to have. As it turns out, data miners have found references to Separate Ways in the game's files, suggesting it might be released in the future as DLC. That's my only sore spot with Ada, and I'm not going to send her actor hate over it, nor has anybody or will anybody, because that's not her fault if it's not included. But this is tricky to talk about in isolation. The temptation is to praise Ada and Gal to offer a supporting balance for all the ignorant scorn being poured on her. Again, no screenshots. In the age of social media, if she was being bombarded with all this shit, where are the screenshots? But you don't fix hate with love. You fix hate with silence. Gal is not an isolated case or even anything special. She is just the latest in a long line of women who are repeatedly hung out to dry over their involvement with video games that the worst among the fan base deems as not good enough. Telling her she's great is not a long-term fix for the toxicity in our industry. Bitch writes for a gaming website. She's an activist, passing herself off as a writer, and she sucks at that. He suck is not hate. Yeah, pretty much. Didn't we make fun of the voice acting in Batman Doom that came to... Yeah! I even said, when I was doing the Twitch stream and I was talking about Doom that came to Gotham, or I was kind of giving my little rundown review for that animated movie, I said the voice acting was horrible. Just about all around in that animated film. Particularly the voice actor, male, who was voicing Batman. He was horrendous. So I guess that means I hate men because I judge his ability, his performance. Yeah, silence is violence, pretty much. Yeah. How can they improve? Well, you got me, because constructive criticism helps you improve, right?
Basically, if they had hired someone who was good at her job, this wouldn't have happened. But I bet it's a diversity hire.
This is the actress they got to do the voice for the Resident Evil remake is the same actress they got to play Ada Wong in the Welcome to Raccoon City movie, which I heard was like shit. And I don't think people even really liked her in that either. Yeah, and people made fun of Christian Bale's voice in the movies. Yeah. There have been comparisons to the hate Laura Bailey received for playing Abby in The Last of Us Part 2. Oh, that you're dredging up that shit that never happened. While there are similarities, okay. First off, anything that happened is pretty much fringe cases. Like they always bring up the fringe cases as if it's like indicative of the entire fandom as a whole, pretty much. That's what they do here. While there are similarities, looking at a similar case from 3 years ago feels willfully ignorant of what has come since. When God of War Ragnarok announced a minor delay, several female developers revealed they had been hit with the deluge of rape threats and dick pics. Again, the assholes on the fringe are not indicative, nor do they represent the entire fandom as a whole. Right? Stacey? Like, you write for a gaming website.
Here's a question. If a guy is pissed at someone, he wouldn't send them dick pics. It's like, yeah, I'm enraged. I'm going to show you my penis now. That's not how it works.
Not really, no. In that instance, they'd just be trolls.
Yeah, or, if guys were genuinely pissed, they would like call them, whores or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So stupid shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy the dick pic thing.
Yeah. They have race gender matching now, where voice actors have to match the race gender of the cartoon characters. Velma did this, for example. Yeah. Simpsons started to do that because Hank Azaria had stepped down from voicing Apu. Yeah, so basically promoting segregation. Fight racism by promoting segregation, pretty much. That's what they're doing. Again, they were dismissed as not real fans, and again, they definitely were real fans.
You know what I did on Twitter? I think it was against, Christie. I sent her a message going, "Hey, are you there?" And she's like, "Yeah." I said, "I'm about to send you a dick pic." She was like freaking out, and I sent her a pic of Dick Grayson.
That's pretty much that's what we tend to do. Send a pic of like Nightwing or Dick Grayson as Robin, pretty much. Yeah, and they're not real fans. They're most likely pervs or trolls, pretty much. Because real fans, they'd be upset at delay after delay after delay, but real fans would not do that shit. Again, assholes on the fringe they do not at all represent the entirety of the fandom. These people are bigger fans than you or I. How? Because they send dick pics? They have the tattoos, the collectibles, the encyclopedic knowledge to prove it. They love these games, and when it all works out, devs are more than happy to cozy up to them. How does she know this? How does she know this? Like, she's basically taking this.
They have tattoos?
They obviously must be real fans.
Well, if a fan has an encyclopedic knowledge about your product, that's a big fucking compliment.
Yeah. And again, the people who did this do not represent the entire fandom. Most likely the entire fandom are these people who are real fans and do have the encyclopedic knowledge. When the God of Ragnarok delay hit, I wrote an article titled "Gamers Are Terrible People and We Should Stop Being Okay with It." Says the chick writing for a gaming website. Some were upset by the headline alone, thinking I was accusing anyone who engaged with video games of being a bad person. Hardly. My life is engaging with video games. I know the importance that they can hold. But self-identified gamers typically exhibit toxic traits. Well, aren't you a self-identified gamer? Because you just said my life is engaging with video games. So you're a self-identified gamer.
Yep.
She just outed herself as having toxic traits.
You know what, though? People that are gamers and that have been gamers since they were kids, I've never heard any of them refer to themselves as a gamer. They don't really do that.
No, not really. All right, but self-identified gamers typically exhibit toxic traits that begin with "get good" taunts. Oh, the inhumanity, the "get good" taunts, and gatekeeping. You know what? Gatekeeping in itself is not a bad thing because it keeps shitheads like you, Stacy, out.
Yeah, the stuff that's happened to with the Rings of Power,
Mm-hmm.
with Star Wars, was with DC and Marvel and D&D. This is what lack of gatekeeping leads to.
Yeah. I don't know what she means by engaging with video games. She's trying to sound more intelligent than she really is. Yeah, pretty much. She's really trying to take us down that rabbit hole, isn't she? And if you venture deep enough into the worst communities, crystallize into homophobia, sexism, racism, and transphobia. Aiden Ross, who only a couple of years ago was running fundraisers for the LGBT community, recently announced that his pronouns are kill them. Sorry, recently announced kills pronouns. All right, okay. Ignore the dickhead. The hate being directed at Lily Gao is not an isolated case and will not go away by a few of us loudly declaring that she's great in an attempt to drown them out. Whether CDPR joking with fans about canceling pre-orders over vagina options in Cyberpunk 2077, again joking, Respawn dunking on Polygon for claiming an Apex Legends character was new and not a relative of Titanfall 2 supporting cast member, or Ubisoft tweet replying to VGC to claim the entirely correct headline about Ubi using AI writers didn't have the full context. Jesus fucking Christ, is a long ass run. This is a run-on sentence. They didn't have the full context because it didn't mention every possible use case. Studios, or at least their marketing department, are often happy to tap into the nature of these obsessive fans. Jesus Christ.
All this stuff, though, developers getting shit now and again and whatever, it's been a thing since the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And but back then, the people took it as criticism and even laughed it off, or fired back some.
Yeah.
It's back in the 80s with the Might and Magic games, which was early role playing games. They had a reviewer called Scotia, which was a fat feminist lady, I think. She reviewed RPGs, and she basically had a big go at one of those games. In the next one, they had a blob monster called Scotia in it. But she didn't throw a fit. She didn't. She probably got pissed, but she didn't play the victim for decades.
Yeah.
People need to read up on their gaming history.
Yeah. When this rabid fan support can be used to drum up hype, to shield a studio from criticism, or even stick fans on the press in retaliation, these people are emboldened to attack others. When did this ever... when have any of this ever happened? Like, sick fans on the press? I've lost count the number of times that we've actually gone after the actual game devs, Activision, Blizzard, Ubisoft, EA, Respawn. How often have we heard studios complain about critics for criticizing? You're literally complaining about critics criticizing Ada Wong's voice actors. You are literally doing this.
Usually, from what I've seen, is the press will attack the fans before they have even had time to criticize anything.
Yeah, Bungie. I call them dickheads. I play Destiny 2. I still criticize Bungie. But she's I love how she says, complain about critics for criticizing. She's calling out studios doing this, and she's literally complaining about critics criticizing the Ada Wong voice actors in this entire fucking article. She's doing just that. I bet she did. Yeah, telling Activision to fix their games is not attacking. Yeah. Usually the companies are the ones who start the attacks. Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's from what I've seen anyway.
The Days Gone team has done it about 17 times alone. I'm not suggesting Capcom tolerates or supports the hate going Gal's way, but I'm saying that studios deliberately try to appeal to these most committed fans, and the more they're catered to, the more likely they are to lash out. What? The more they're catered to, the more likely they are to lash out? How? If they're catered to, why are they more likely to lash out?
If they're catered to, they will be happy.
I'm saying like that's cognitive dissonance. It doesn't make any sense because if you're catering to someone, you're going out of your way to make them happy. So why would they lash out? It doesn't make any sense. Gaming desperately wants to be taken seriously as an art form, pointing to how much money it makes and trying always to appeal to a wider crowd who will legitimize their work with praise. But part of what holds gaming back is its audience. We might see flashes of this hate with certain types of movie. Yeah, bring up Brie Larson, whatever the fuck. But it's far more widespread in gaming. For as long as we treat each example as an individual case, and for as long as studios are happy to tap into the obsessions of the most toxic, this is what we've got. Lily Gal is great, but that doesn't matter. Gaming is rotten. Then quit gaming. Because, yeah, you do want to treat each example as an individual case because these are the same people. These are the same people. If a terrorist act happens, all right, a suicide bombing happens or whatever, pretty much, when all those were going down, might be the first fucking ones to say, oh, let's not judge all Muslims. Let's not judge all Muslims by this one instance or whatever. All right? But they turn around, and in the same breath, judge an entire demographic because of one individual case.
Yeah. Especially if it's white people.
By that logic, catering to the LGBTQ and BLM, then they'll lash out. Yeah, pretty much. Let's remove the audience altogether, because if they're holding it back and see how the game company gets, yeah. Yeah. They're the first one to say, like, don't judge like, whatever demographic. Don't judge the entire demographic. And then they turn around and judge the entire demographic. Hey, fuck Norris. Yeah, pretty much. But there it is. That's the end of the article. It was some of the most retarded shit I think I've ever seen. No proof. It was just basically Stacey bitching about the gaming community again. Making it about herself again. No proof again. But there it is. Stop sharing the screen.
That Stacey person has to be our number one retard because she features a lot.
She's tied with Jade King. But anyway, we're down to our third and last article, talking about DnD. So for those who've been following what Wizards of the Coast have been doing, all right,
this is nothing new.
Well, I'm going to say something new, but I'm saying the stupid continues.
Yep.
The stupid continues. And here it is, folks. To remove half species from player's handbook claims the entire idea is, quote, inherently racist. Never mind, you're saying it's a half species because you have one half being one species and one half being another species. So you have half elves. And, all right, you have another entity owned by Wizards of the Coast, Magic the Gathering, who's putting out Lord of the Rings cards. And there's a particular character. All right, now Steve, don't answer this. Does any of you know what Elrond's last name is? In the chat. Elrond.
It's Coleman.
Right? Shut up. Elrond. Okay? If you watch the Lord of the Rings movies, so forth, Elrond has a last name. This is what makes it so fucking ironic, folks. No, Abomination. Hold on, no. He has a last name. Smith Hubert, no. Not Rivendell. Not Soy Elrond, not Soyrond, yes. Alright. There you are, Charlie Stevenson. Half Elven. Elrond, half Elven.
Yeah.
And Wizard of the Coast owns
you want to
Magic the
hear something
Gathering.
even funnier? In the Dragonlance franchise, which is 200 novels now, one of the stuff that really built D&D, one of the main characters is Tanis, the half elven. He's one of the main characters is a ranger. So they literally, and they brought back Dragonlance just now, while pissing on the original creators. And yeah, the key character in it is a half elf, and now they're removing half elves.
The reason why he's called that is because his father was human.
Yeah.
That's the reason he's called that, because his father was human.
He basically chose to be elf or human.
Yeah.
In a way.
His brother chose to be human, or lines on more with humans, and Elrond chose to elf.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why he's called half elven, because his father was human. There it is. But anyway, let's just dive right into the stupidity. In their latest step forward on their long march to lost profits, Wizards of the Coast has revealed that they will be removing the concept of half species from the Dungeons and Dragons Player's Handbook on the grounds that they are not comfortable including an inherently racist concept in the game. It's literally saying like you're half a species, like you're half two species pretty much. So if you're half human and half elf, you're a half elf because you're not pure blood elf. You're not pure blood human.
They're basically removing interracial relationships. So that has to carry over to humans too then. If they're not of the same race of humans, then it's also racist.
I'm not saying he introduced himself like, it's like our last names. I'm saying he was called that because of his father being human and because he would choose whether to be human or elf. So there's not like a last name like we know it. So I was just saying what he's called, pretty much. Elrond half elven. That's what he's called. This forthcoming update was first announced publicly at the recent D&D Creator Summit, an event wherein Wizards of the Coast gathered a number of notable personalities ranging from game developers to content creators and provided them with a sneak peek at Dungeons & Dragons' upcoming releases. Following a rocky start to the summit, marred with various technical difficulty issues... Oh, what a shame. The publisher eventually hosted a demo of their upcoming D&D virtual tabletop, after which D&D lead rules designer Jeremy Crawford... senior story designer Chris Perkins and the studio art director Josh Herman.
That one there, Chris Perkins.
Mm-hmm.
That's the heart of the problem for the last 15 years. He is he's a prick.
So, was a half brain, yeah. So no race mixing, yeah, pretty much. A half elf commanded armies of elves, yeah. He was the actual commander, not Galadriel. He commanded elves.
Yeah.
And Josh Herman appeared for a Q&A session with the attendees. Eventually, the post-demo Q&A turned to the topic of Wizards of the Coast's ongoing efforts to sanitize D&D, beginning with a question about how exactly the publisher makes use of their sensitivity readers. Again, they're pretty much paid vagrants.
If players have a problem with half elves or half orcs, which they don't, all they have to do is not have them in their game. That's it. The DM can just say, "Yeah, nobody gets to play half orc or half elf."
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not, Winky. It's not sanitized, it's defiled. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. We don't send everything to the same people all the time, Crawford explained of their content review process, per a summary of the event posted to the EN World Forum by user Brimmels and a recap provided by content creator Daniel Kwan. Different reviewers have different areas of expertise and experience. Everything gets sent to at least 2 people, sometimes more. The old inclusion review process had holes in it because they would only send out what they thought would be a problem. Now everything is sent out, so we aren't guessing what might be a problem. Oh my god. Our team are game designers and storytellers. We're not experts in culture and inclusion. Then why are you paying people as if they're experts in culture and inclusion? Like there's no experts in, like, especially in this. Fucking hell.
Why do you need experts in culture and inclusion if the whole game takes place in a different world anyway?
Hey, Phil. I'm saying it's like it's not reflective of our world. So why do they need people who are experts of
These
our
people
world?
would have a heart attack if they saw our Conan game.
Oh yeah. So we're focused on what damage should this creature do. That's why everything goes through inclusion review now. So everything in our game brings out delight. Even reprints are going through inclusion review. That's why some older books are changing too.
See, they're retroactively changing the other editions.
Yeah.
And probably they're probably gonna change the 5th edition books first. Then they'll move on to 4th and then 3rd, right? This is why you buy physical media on eBay or something.
Well, I'll see Abomination. Yeah. Further elaborating on Wizard of the Coast process, the designer detailed, we get a full report. We then address the issues identified. We have a conversation. Then it goes back to the reviewers so they can see what we did and comment as to whether it addressed the issue. We also now send the art, even the sketches, through the review process. Jeremy thinks of it as inclusion collaboration because it's a conversation going on.
You know what?
So basically this right here. Who said this? Hold on, I want to highlight someone's comments.
Whenever I post, whenever I post those old D&D pictures on Twitter, like have a good day, and there's an old D&D picture. That doesn't, the new stuff doesn't compare to that at all. It's dead. There's nothing special about it. Back then, the artwork would sell the product quite often. You know, now it's just it's either cartoony or just soulless.
Mm-hmm. I think I heard like 4 people creating their own tabletop games to compete with D&D, and I think their odds are going up and up pretty much.
Oh, Wizards of the Coast had a go at Gary Gygax's son because he tried to bring back the old TSR company, which did the 1st through 2nd edition. And they basically set their fans on him because he had referred to his wife as my woman. And they had to go at his sexism, and he got accused of racism and blah, blah, blah. The fact that in the same interview, his wife refers to him as my man got censored, basically. So, because they knew that people wanted D&D to go back to the roots, right? And that's what Gygax's son was trying to do.
Yeah.
So they attacked him immediately.
Yeah. And we would say so-called fans, but then the shitheads like Stacey Henley would be like, no, they're real fans.
You know what
that
they also
how
did?
The community is.
They did this recently. The D&D movie that they're releasing. They are not crediting Gygax as the creator.
No, there was actually an article that I nearly covered. It was like from a while back that I missed, and that is, that D&D movie was actually like went out of their way to avoid any references to Tolkien from like Dungeons and Dragons, pretty much.
Oh, they probably have to, because back in the first edition, the halflings were called hobbits, and they had to remove it for.
Well, I'm saying that. I'm saying like Tolkien's influence. I mean, like go out of their way to ignore that.
You know what they did with the? I think it was fifth or fourth edition. They included a Tolkien-ish elf race, and called it Eladrin, which is they changed the letter from Eldarin.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's all they did. They called it Eladrin, and it's basically the Tolkien elves. And they added them retroactively, so they're nowhere to be found in the lore. You know, 10,000s of years of lore. There's no mention of them. They just added them because the Lord of the Rings movies were popular.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. To this end, Crawford then confirmed that due to the game now having 4 elf variants for players to choose from when creating a character, you have your standard elves, high elves, wolf elves, and the drow.
Well, that's a typo. It should be wood elves.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think that doesn't make any sense. Wood elves and the drow. The player's handbooks would soon be revised to do away with half species. Frankly, we're not comfortable and haven't been for years with any of the options that start with half. He explained.
Keyword. We haven't been for years. See,
Yes.
I've been calling this out for years. Nobody's listening, but yeah, congratulations, people. You supported this shit.
So technically, if you think about it, these are like true biracial characters because they are 2 races. So they're saying they're not comfortable with biracial, anything biracial. That's what they're saying essentially. Hey, Strong Gamer. He explained this decision. The half construction is inherently racist, so we simply aren't going to include it in the new player's handbook. How is it racist? Unsurprisingly, Crawford did not expand on his accusation, and thus his reasoning behind this claim remains unknown. I'm saying there's no reasoning because it's like it can't be racist because again, it's literally genuine biracial, 2 races.
Look at that shit artwork, though.
I know.
For the racist, it's just so damn basic. You know?
Yeah. However, despite their removal from the player's handbook, Crawford assured players that if someone wants to play those characters' options, they'll still be in the D&D Beyond, and they'll still be in the 2014 player's handbook. It should be noted that though players may still be allowed to create half characters, thanks to their removal from the core materials, such characters cannot be used in any officially sanctioned event. As of writing, it is unclear when the player's handbook will officially be revised, nor when it will hit shelves. Hey, look, the race swapped Aragorn. That's it. So, long line of fuckery from Wizard of the Coast.
Yeah.
No, it's the Dungeons and Dragons who are doing away. This article's talking about how Wizard of the Coast is removing half species from the player's handbook for Dungeons and Dragons because half species are inherently racist.
Which means every future D&D video game will also remove them because they have to use the current edition.
Yeah.
It's a rule they have.
And I read this when I did the video on the race swapped Aragorn. Here's the description of Strider. All right. As Frodo drew near, he threw back his hood, showing a shaggy head of dark hair flecked with gray, and in a pale, stern face, a pair of keen gray eyes.
Yeah, so pale and no afro.
Pale, and we get this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there it is, folks. The third and last cringe article for today, at least. And don't worry, there's plenty this week. Have enough to talk about for Talk Nerdy this coming Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern.
I would say the last one was the most cringe and retarded, though. Even though the middle one had the writer be basically a
Well,
retard?
the middle one, the writer was retarded.
Yeah.
The third one, it was Wizards of the Coast being retarded again.
Yeah,
then,
and their retardation will have effects
so,
on piles of future and past products.
yeah. So I'm just close that tab. But there it is, folks. There it is. So we talked about how Agatha Christie is joining the list of writers, getting sensitivity readers to update for modern audiences Agatha Christie's work. Then you have Stacey Henley, the gift that keeps on giving at TheGamer, talking about a bunch of nothing, accusing gamers of attacking Ada Wong's voice actress with no receipts, no proof whatsoever. And the only criticism that actress ever received about her performance was her performance, because she was terrible. Nothing against the actress, but her acting was horrible. And then the third one, like another prime example of why why Sig and I do not support Wizards of the Coast, nor I think anyone worth their weight claiming to be a D&D fan should.
Oh, not just that. If people are claiming to be fighting the woke crap,
Yeah.
they shouldn't be streaming D&D 5th edition.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would be hypocritical.
Yeah. Yeah, they threw out the dictionary for that. It's virtue signaling. It's virtue signaling. The constant shaming of gamers proves we are the most marginalized and oppressed. We're getting up there. We're pretty much getting up there because, again, these same people who would be like, oh, don't judge all Muslims because of one terrorist, will turn around and judge all gamers because of one fucking retard.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's how it works with these people. Sorry. That's generally how it works with them. But, all right. Yeah, amplified by the poor writing of the author, pretty much. But anyway, so before I say goodnight to the chat, again, for those who are new to the channel, who may have just joined into the chat, next week and the following week, we do the 1s and 2s streams where I and my co-host Orange at Reviews talk about the first and second movie, either in the franchise or basically the pair, pretty much. And next week, we'll begin talking about Fright Night, 1985's Fright Night. All right, so the original Fright Night. All right, so we'll be talking about that next week, and then the sequel, Fright Night 2, the following week, the 1s and 2s stream for this month, because it's my birthday this coming Monday, and I decided to pick a movie that I grew up watching when I was a kid and absolutely love, and kind of formed my appreciation and love for the horror movie genre as well as for vampire lore, and it was Fright Night. That was one of the movies, like one of the first ones I watched. We're going to talk about, shut up, Abomination, 1985's Fright Night. All right? Next week. Tomorrow, what I might do is, what I'm thinking about doing, because have a video scheduled to drop tomorrow at the same time I normally drop videos, and you'll notice that I'm wearing the same shirt in the video because I recorded it today, but I'm uploading it. I've set it to upload tomorrow. All right, so that way I can have a video come out tomorrow afternoon and be able to stream, in the afternoon. Because I'm not sure if I'll be able to stream in the evening. If it's early enough and I'm still relatively awake enough, I might jump back onto Twitch tomorrow evening, but it's going to be more likely an afternoon stream solely tomorrow, because I'm not sure if I'll be able to stream tomorrow evening. And it'll be most likely Resident Evil 4, because I'm going to get that played. That was released today, but tomorrow's video will be on Susan Sarandon talking about her bad guy in Blue Beetle and how it represents pretty much the white military-industrial complex.
Yeah.
So I'll be playing that. I'll just be playing that. I might play it twice tomorrow, depending on like I said, if I'm awake enough. But tomorrow afternoon I'll be streaming, so I'm not skipping a stream. And then I'm planning on streaming on Kick Friday afternoon. I'm like Mando is going to help me with that because I will try to import my scenes into OBS Studio, because to stream on Kick you have to use OBS Studio, and I'm not used to using that at fucking all. So I'm gonna be working on that tomorrow, get that squared away so I can stream Diablo on Kick Friday afternoon.
No, I don't want to learn Kick. Fuck that. The Twitch is bad enough.
All right, who said you had to? All you had to do is just watch.
Yeah, I want to watch you play Diablo.
All right, I'm not gonna make you a mod. But anyway, so I got get that situated so I can stream on Kick, and then Saturday, Talk Nerdy to Us will be on my channel, this channel, and I told Steph it has to absolutely be Saturday because next Sunday is Easter Sunday. All right, next Sunday is Easter Sunday, so we can't exactly stream then. And Saturday is going to be a like a thank you, Sean, a pre-birthday stream sort of situation. It's going to kind of be like, talking pop culture cringe, because that's what we normally do, as well as having some fun this evening. So tune in for that 9 p.m. Eastern on this channel. And this is my Kick. Please give me a follow over there. I need 75 followers. That's one of the requirements for affiliates. And I got to stream for 5 hours, 5 total hours. So that's why I'm going to stream. That's why I'm going to stream Friday to get some of those hours in. All right. So thank you all for hanging out with us. Stig, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun. Well, it's like Twitch in a way.
What do you need to?
If Twitch goes, because Twitch has been doing some bullshit with their terms of service, and they've been screwing people over with pay and things like that. So I created Kick as a backup. So if Twitch goes under, I'll have Kick. It's next week. Orange Chat, it's next week. So next Wednesday is Fright Night 1, 1985. So, yeah, it's a live streaming site. So basically. So, yeah. So thank you. So, yeah. So please give me a follow over there. You don't have to be a mod or anything like that. But just give me a follow so that way I can get affiliates. So I can, get affiliates and have a backup to Twitch. So I can switch between Twitch and Kick, pretty much. Yes. Rumble is YouTube, Kick is for Twitch. So yeah. But anyway, so Sieg, again. Let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, on this channel in a few weeks. And for our top 10. And Teresa's channel for the book stuff. Sometimes on Tommy, the Guinea Pig Collective, whatever it's called, for where they talk about retro toys and retro stuff, which is really fun.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, Twitch is like this is some shit they've been doing well, where they punish streamers whenever someone says something, whenever someone in the chat says something bad. Nothing the streamer did or anything like that, but Twitch has been punishing people. Yeah, so. But anyway, thank you all again for hanging out with us. Again, that's my schedule moving forward with streaming and videos. I have a video dropping tomorrow, so that way I can stream tomorrow afternoon on Twitch. So I hope to see you all there if you're able to hang out with me as I rage during Resident Evil 4. Because Ashley gives me an aneurysm. I can't stand that character. But again, thank you again for enduring this. Hope to see you all on Twitch tomorrow. If not Twitch, then on YouTube for Talk Nerdy to Us this Saturday. So have a good rest of your day or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And we will see you all next time. Take care.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.